Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. So I never did figure out what was up with the camera that I ordinarily was using in order to get this to do the shows here. But I did realize that, okay, now it actually, the Mac has the capability of just using the iPhone as a camera, which it should have for a long time. Of course, that means I have to put my phone up again. Okay, so we got kind of a different look here with a different angle. But I don't know how to adjust the angles or anything like that on the iPhone. But here we've got a different kind of angle here, different kind of look. So anyway, but at least a better camera here. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. It is great to see everybody. Oh, lots of people over here in the chat. We are going to be doing, I was trying to get my PDF of Warhammer Quest up. I think we're coming close basically to the end of Warhammer Quest here. If I can find the adventure book, we'll take a look at the adventure book. But Mike very graciously sent us some additional characters to take a look at. So I thought that now would be a good time to take a look at the different characters we've got, because this is one of the ways that they made expansions for Warhammer Quest. I remember these being on the shelf back when I was going to the Line of the Unicorn was the big store for this kind of thing when I was playing. So here's the Pit Fighter right here. I remember these being on the shelf. Never got into it because I was so big into Hero Quest, and then the Elf Ranger. So we're going to take a look at those. And thank you very much to Mike for sending these out and allowing us to take a look at them today. All right, so there we go. That's what we're doing here. Let's see who we got. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Mike is in the chat right here. Good morning, Mike. We've got the Titter Pig Rancher, which is Sable Phoenix. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning, PH. Good morning. Hey, Charlie. Good morning, everybody. We've got Better with Bacon. Good morning. Let's see. Oh, y'all have got a discussion going on over on the Better with Bacon channel. Good morning. Hey, Jason. Good morning. Tomocrat says fish time. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it's a much wider field of view, and I'm not sure. I would like to be able to adjust that again, but I was just talking about that. But I was like, okay, so I got the iPhone hooked up, but now there's no, I don't see controls to adjust that. So we will see. Hey, Little Monk is here. Good to see you in the chat here. Oh, I've got to get my drink ready here. Good to see you. Good to see you here live. I don't know. This kind of angle may be better. I don't know. We will see. All right, everybody. Let's take a few questions from the reporters, and I always like to start. I have no idea what that was. Okay. Here's to you. First of all, we'll start to Little Monk. Little Monk, this is for you. Congratulations on being here in the chat for the first time. Oh, actually, so Sable says this is better. Titter Pig Rancher says, now you can actually see the the secondary camera right here too. The Titter Pig Rancher says, hey, I like the new angle. You can see all the Rabavania stuff and a better look at the bookcase. Yeah, you can do that. I was noticing that too. So the bookcase is wider. The Rabavania stuff is up there. You can even see some of the He-Man stuff up there, maybe a little bit better. So we'll see. Need a better setup. So, all right. So welcome, Little Monk. Let's go ahead and do our breathe and sip. Let's take 2 deep breaths in through the nose. Complete inhales through the nose. Oh, no. Deep inhales through the nose. Complete exhales through the mouth. And then we'll take a sip of our favorite beverage this morning. So here we go. Let's breathe. And sip. Here we go. I was looking at some numbers this morning. Let me tell you how that's going. So I noticed this morning that we have 3,449 subscribers to the Cultist channel. So the Cultist channel has been doing very well, I thought. And I put out some information in the Discord server as well. Let me put the links up there. So that's like, what was that? Last time we streamed, what was that? On Wednesday? Oh, I didn't even write that down on Wednesday. Well, how about a week ago? On Sunday, we had 3,109 subscribers. So in a week, we've gotten 440 new subscribers on the Cultist YouTube channel, which is fantastic. Cultists, assuming you're still able to contact them. The Cultist channel. So if you haven't checked that out, I will put the Cultist YouTube channel link in the comments. I need to collect all of these again. The Cultists on YouTube. And we still have not hit the 500 sign up mark on the RPG though. On the Cultist RPG and the $500 dice giveaway, we have not hit 500 yet. We are at 498. So I got to think of some more stuff to do. But if you are not signed up and you would like to help us hit the 500 subscriber mark or 500 email signups for the launch of here, I'll put up the screen here. For all of the Elder Dice and the coming RPG. We're going entirely by like the amount of the number of people that can sign up, since we're going to Kickstarter with the cultist comedy RPG that we designed here on this channel. We are we're just going for how many of these things. The giveaway is not on each of the cultist videos, no. Let's see. Here is the $500 giveaway link. There we go. So maybe this morning we will hit 500 if there are people here who are not signed up. That would be really appreciative. Is the giveaway on each cultist video? No, the game giveaway isn't on each cultist video, but it is on the ones that people are watching. And particularly ones that are directly relevant to the giveaway here. So I think people, but I don't know about people finding them. I don't know about people finding them just organically. Oh, look, the link is down in the comments or something like that. Some of the videos are actually about the giveaway and the game and things like that, and especially those are directing people to this sign up page. All right. Let's see. What else is going on? I still continue to have a bunch of boring business stuff I've got to do today. So not having a whole bunch of creativity going on. But I'm looking forward to getting back to that. Yep, paying bills. And then maybe cutting some grass. So, yep, still my life continues to be boring at the moment. But not now, because we're here for the morning grind. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's see. Yeah, James says, what's The Cultist? Sounds like a funny, irreverent comedy series about young adults trying to find their way in a world to the worship of non-standard deities where hilarity ensues. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Okay, we've been going through the Warhammer Quest quite a bit. But I don't know that for our purposes there is a whole lot more that we have got to do. Got to look at as far as our study of the game rules goes to maybe make something for ourselves later on. I do have Warhammer Quest, so I went ahead and pulled out of the closet Warhammer Quest Shadows over Hammerhall. Shadows over Hammerhall, and it's sitting up there on the other shelf over here, but pulled out of the shelf in the bedroom. So over here, so we can take a look at it as far as an unboxing, but maybe before we leave from Warhammer Quest, because people have said, hey, you should totally try out some of the look at some of the new ones. So I remember being unimpressed with Warhammer Quest Shadows over Hammerhall, but we can take a look at it. We can open up the box. We can see what's in it. We can talk about it. We can compare it to what we were looking at here. The silver tower or something. I'm not sure. The silver tower I do not have, but we may be able to find something about it online. And then we can move on. I do want to take a look at on the list. That was there something? There's a list here of the different kind of games in this genre to look at. But the Shadows. I always say it wrong. Shadows of. Well, it's not Shadows over or something. Okay, well, I can't even remember the Old West one. Shadows over. Now I'm caught up on Hammerhall, and then also I do want to try to get the morning grind, the League of Dungeoneers. Sounds interesting for the morning grind. So good morning. Look, we got more people coming in. Good morning, PDX. Good morning, Nicholas. Good morning. Shadows over. Is that why I always get what is the Shadows over Shadows of No, why can't I think of it all of a sudden? Well, now I see the Shadows over Stillwater. What is the Shadows over Stillwater? Somebody in the comments tell me what this game is. Okay, thank you. Okay, exactly. Shadows of Brimstone. That's what the game I'm thinking of. It's okay, so then no wonder. It's Shadows over Hammerhall and Shadows of Brimstone. Thank you. Thank you, Nicholas. All right. Let's see. I'm going to take this down. Sneeze coming. Excuse me. All right. And then the League of Dungeoneers I want to check out too. Uh-oh. How about that? Okay. There we go. All right. So these are courtesy of Mike. Thank you, Mike. We've got the Pit Fighter and we've got the Elf Ranger. Let's take a look at the Pit Fighter first. So I kind of like this idea of character expansion, something we never got from HeroQuest. Pit Fighter, it says, Pit Fighters are brutal warriors trained by years of bitter and bloody fighting for their lords and masters. Those few who win their freedom often put their battle skills to use searching for the lost treasures of the old world. In this pack, you'll find everything you need to play a Pit Fighter in the Warhammer Quest game, including rulebook, cards, counters, and a specialty crafted Pit Fighter's Citadel miniature. So I like this idea because you've got the different cards and things like that that's inside. If you had, I think this is a good way potentially to do character expansions. Oh, Mike is warning us the mini. I have not even opened them. I have not opened them since he sent these. So this is kind of like the first time on screen at all. So Mike says the minis are not well painted. I'm not sure who painted them, but they did it. And I would likely not have them back then. Shadows over Hammerhall is a subtle reference to Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing's most famous campaigns, Enemy Within first book, Shadows over Bogenhafen. Okay, I don't know that one at all. All right. Okay, it looks like the miniatures right here. So what do you get? Warhammer Quest Pit Fighter. Those are thick cards. That's not just a standard card. Okay, so we got the Pit Fighter. I guess this is your main character sheet right here. So the Pit Fighter, it says wounds 1d6 plus 8. Come on, focus. One d6 plus 8 wounds, move 4, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 6 plus, strength 3, toughness 3, 4. So it looks like he's wearing some armor there. Initiative 3, attacks 1. Equipment, heal it potion. Weapon, first spike, which causes 1d6 plus 3 wounds. See the back of this card for details. The Pit Fighter also has Pit Flail, which causes 1d6 plus 5 wounds. See the Pit Flail equipment card for details. At the start of each turn, the Pit Fighter must declare whether he is using the Fist Spike or the Pit Flail. He cannot use both in the same turn. Armor, Pit Armor, gaining him +1 toughness. Pinning, the Pit Fighter escapes from pinning on a roll of 5+. Special rules, see the back of this card for special rules. And then we've got his to hit table down here. Should have a character counter in there too. Okay, it probably does. Maybe in there. When you opened the secondary camera and I saw the two boxes side by side, I thought it was in VR format. So the Pit Fighter special rules. I mean, that's a thick piece of cardboard here. Not just playing card thickness. Pit Fighter special rules. The Pit Fighter's training allows him to react very quickly. Whenever an unexpected event causes monsters to appear, roll a d6 just after the monsters have been placed. Die roll 1. Effect. The Pit Fighter becomes confused and may do nothing in the warrior's next phase. Oh, okay. Well, okay. That you react very quickly, although on a roll of a 1, you can become confused and do nothing. A 2 to 4, nothing occurs to the Pit Fighter, and the warriors must fight the monsters as normal. or a 5 and 6, the Pit Fighter remembers a special move and may immediately move and attack just as if it were the warrior's phase, bearing in mind all the special rules for pinning, etc. He may still act normally in the warrior's phase. If the Pit Fighter is standing in the fighting pit, he will only fail to react on a roll of a 1, in which case he is confused as above. I guess the fighting pit, I guess that's a special objective room or something. So Fist Spike right here. The Fist Spike gives the Pit Fighter 2 extra attacks, but he doesn't get to make death blows. If a Pit Fighter kills a monster with his Fist Spike, he may step into the square it occupies and continue his attacks from there. The rules for pinning do not apply to this special move. All right. So then you get, okay, the Pit Flail. So this is like a mini card here, but again, pretty thick. You can see where it's actually been punched out. So it's like a punch board piece. Pit Flail. While he uses the Pit Flail, the Pit Fighter is at +2 strength. So he does 1d6 plus 5 damage. However, if he rolls a 1 when using the flail, he hits himself instead. All right. Oh, and that just says equipment on the back here. So here's the Heal It potion, Heal ITT potion. See that? Heal It potion. This fiery, foul-tasting liquid is used by pit fighters to replenish their strength for the next bout of fighting. If the pit fighter drinks this potion, he will be cured of 1d6 wounds. However, if the dice comes up as a 1, that potion has run out. If another warrior drinks the potion, he will be cured of 1d6 wounds, and the potion will run out if the dice roll is a 1 or a 2. So he has a little bit of a healing potion with him. All right, so what is this? Pit Fighter. Oh, tiny writing here. Okay, this is a lot of info. Man, look at how dense this is. Might be easier for me to read it on the screen. Okay. I do like this idea, though. You get this is almost He-Man, original He-Man comic book size, mini comic book. Remember those? Little Monk HQ brings in some extra information saying, excellent warrior. Unfortunately, like many Gav Thorpe creations, he's completely overpowered. Fist Spike is so good, you'd never risk using the Pit Flail. Yeah, the Pit Flail having the idea of you can hit yourself for 1d5, 1d6 plus 5, that's a lot. Hang on just one second. I will be right back.
Oh, it's time for a Yeti hug break. Yeti hug break, Yeti hug break. Everybody go hug yo Yeti and show yo Yeti some love.
Okay, I'm back. So, yes, so it says that completely overpowered. First, Fist Spike is so good you would never risk using the Pit Flail. Because that's the one. Okay, you can't do Death Blow, though. I think that was probably what was supposed to be its big thing. So you get 2 extra attacks. So you're getting 3 attacks? Attacks 1. So you get 3 attacks. That does sound pretty good. And it's... Oh, no, Fist Spike right here. Well, that's 1d6 plus 3. Yeah, 3 attacks at 1d6 plus 3 wounds. That does sound pretty good. Probably what was supposed to hold you back was that you don't make death blows. But that if you do kill a monster with the Fist Spike, you step into that square and continue his attacks from there. That does seem pretty good. Oh, you have a hardcover collection of the He-Man mini comics? That's pretty awesome. I would really like to be able to do some, like, one of the original ideas was to do some mini comics like for Rabavania, but they kind of ended up becoming stories, and so I'm not sure. But having a little booklet like this on the character, I really like, because obviously there's a lot of information. I guess that's because there's so much information on the main characters inside the main book. You need something like this. I think I saw that these right here. Oh, Titterpig, thank you, Titterpig. Member for 16 months says, when you're being hugged to death by Yetis, everyone please remember to like the stream and sign up for the Elder Dice giveaway. Please do. So I believe Mike was, I saw somebody say that actually these were up on Broheim. Has the base stuff plus the training and RPG elements. Yeah, okay, so let's see what's in here. So let's see. Pit Fighter. Across the old world, there are many pastimes and sports. And one of the most popular, hang on, I'm not going to bother trying to show you this right up here. I'm going to go up here. That way I can hold it up here and maybe actually read it. Okay, that is a problem. I would try to make the font a little bit larger here. But across the old world, there are many pastimes and sports, and one of the most popular events is the gladiatorial pit. Many local laws ban pit fighting, but the culture remembers a haven for ex-mercenaries, escaped convicts, and itinerant conmen. When a pit fight takes place, it can range from highly organized. Lord, gee, this is making me feel really old. Yeah, okay, little monks, but I think it is just the text is really, really tiny. Booklet, we need some additional pages here. Booklet text is too small. If only someone would make a larger booklet for these guys in full color with rules slightly improved. Is that what you did? So we do have an introduction. What is this result? As an escaped pit fighter, you are a hunted man, constantly wary of places that you might one day be recognized. There is a one in here. Here, let's see. So Broheim. Let me look up Broheim Pit Fighter. Where do I go, little monk? If you've got something for us that you made that you'd like for us to take a look at, let's take a look at it. Let me look up Broheim Pit Fighter. Here's someone. It's not this original. Does it say who made this? Oh, no, that actually looks like something for a warband. That's warband rules. Warhammer Quest. Oh, no, this is the Pit Fighter game. Maybe this one. It's opening. I do like this idea of these player boxes. No, this is for Mordheim Pit Fighters. Okay, they're preserving a lot of information over there. Here. I will put the Discord server link. Some people might not be part of the Discord server. We can put it in the morning grind section of the Discord server, if there's a link. Discord server. But I'll share the link on the Discord server. Okay, yeah, please do. Okay, thank you. Got it. Oh, the Pit Fighter's on this one? All right, hang on. We're coming in. Yep, Pit Fighter, character complete and searchable PDF. Okay, let's bring this up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, got it. Here we go. Warhammer Quest Pit Fighter. Now, oh, look, I can read it. Whoa. Okay. Check that out. All right. So, let's see. When a pit fight takes place, it can range from a highly organized gala in a large arena to a small fist fight in an old barn. The combatants are usually slaves who work the circuit, earning their freedom by paying off their managers with a large cut of their winnings. By the time most pit fighters are free men, they're so physically and mentally scarred they don't wish to leave the sport, as they can find no position in normal society. There are many reasons why a pit fighter might exchange his current career for the life of an adventurer. The culture of the pit fight means that there are many alleged and real scandals, arrests, and much notoriety. You can think up your own reasons for leaving the pit fighting circuit, or you can make like the other players to write down suggestions. Or you may like the other players to write down suggestions for you and then take one at random. If you can't think of a suitable motive for setting off on the career of adventuring, that's what this table is for. Roll a d6 on the following table. You may decide if you want to keep your past secret so you don't tell anybody that you don't trust. D6 is escape. Your master was particularly cruel and greedy, making you fight until you dropped. One day you had enough and leapt from the pit fight after winning a fight. Before anybody could stop you, you were out in the big wide world and free. It wasn't me. Your master was found dead one morning, and it was no secret that you wished to leave his school. The watchman dragged you to prison, but you managed to escape before the trial. Roll a d6. On a roll of 1 to 3, you actually did commit the murder. On a 6 to 4, you are innocent. We've got vendetta. Ho-hum. Well, you know what they say. There was a huge scandal, and various rumors cast a cloud over your parentage, eating habits, nighttime activities, and variety of other personality traits. Of course, none of them were strictly true, but that's where there's smoke, there's fire. You decided it was better to leave before anyone got too curious. Of course I was. Your character spent his entire lifetime in and around the fighting pits. Unfortunately, it wasn't as a combatant. You were the cleanup man after the contest, but you have watched many great fighters train and rise to stardom. You were ridiculed and kicked out, and in an act of petty vengeance, you stole some of the equipment and fled. You are now determined to prove you can be as successful as the fighters who mocked you. So this contains everything you need to play one of these. It's split into 3 sections: a basic Warhammer Quest section, an advanced section, and a role play section. It says bigger groups of warriors. If you want to, you can take more than 4 warriors into an adventure, but you have to make sure there are enough monsters to go around. The cards and tables from the Warhammer Quest game are based on there being 4 warriors. So if you have 15 different warriors in the party, then the game as it stands will present no challenge at all. As a general rule, stick to parties of 4 warriors, but if you have parties of 5 or 6, then increase the number of monsters by an equal proportion. It would be nice to be able to like have something like that on the card, so it's just easily known instead of having to do some kind of ratio each time. It sure would be nice to be able to know how many people or how many monsters to increase just by number of heroes. This right over here. So starting as the pit fighter. I think we covered that. Armor, yeah, we saw that. We read the special rules, so we got that. Advanced rules. Pit fighters and events. As a professional fighter, a pit fighter finds it hard to turn down a challenge. If your character rolls an event that leads to physical conflict, such as the duel, then he must accept and must not try to pay his way out or walk away. Pit armor. Pit armor only covers a portion of the pit fighter's body. There are 5 locations to cover: head, legs, body, arm, left arm, and right arm. Are we adding hit locations into this? The armor you start with covers your body. Whenever a monster hits, look up its to hit roll on the to hit table. If you have pit armor on the location indicated, you may add its armor value to your toughness. If that location is not armored, you receive no extra protection. You may buy extra pieces of pit armor from the fighting school armory. If you do so, you must make note of which part of the pit fighter's body the armor covers. Well, hit locations. We haven't had hit locations before, have we? What do we think about that? But you're not making a new roll. You are just looking at the to hit roll on the table below. Monsters to hit roll, if it was a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Body, legs, right arm, left arm, head. So, for example, Grund Head Cruncher has pit armor on his body and his right arm. A monster hits him with rolls of 4, 5, and 6. His pit armor counts against the 4 and the 6 right arm and body, but not against the roll of 5 his legs. Have people played with this one before? Is that going too much, or does that work? When we're talking about armor, I mean, we've talked about on this channel before. We're talking about, okay, how much of it is on you, how difficult it is to penetrate, particularly with a particular type of weapon. If you want to get that complicated, although we had I think a series of 3 different things here: head, left arm, right arm. You could just say what percentage of the body is it covering or whatever, or here is the protective value, even though it's not on some parts of the body. Do we need to get to the particular armor, that particular hit location? I think this is more important if there's actually some effect that it's going to have. If you're just losing points from a general hit point pool, maybe knowing the hit location is not important. But if something can actually happen to you specifically in, an arm injury or a leg injury, then it might be enough. Grund Head Cruncher. I don't know which one's better. So debt. When you fled from your home, you still had a large sum of money to pay your ex-master. Since he's invested a considerable amount of time and money in your career, he's anxious to get it back. To work out how much money you owe, roll D6 and consult the following table. Note this down on your adventure record sheet. You must pay off your debt in part or whole whenever you visit the fighting school. Simply deduct the amount from your gold total and cross it off that you still owe. Once you've paid off your entire debt, you are safe from any reprisal your ex-master may attempt, but may still roll on the table to see if an admiring fan spots you. Uneventful days. Whenever you arrive in a settlement, there's a chance that somebody recognizes you. Whenever you have an uneventful day in the settlement, roll a d6 and look up the result on the following table below. Oh, so 1, you spot an employee. This is just d6. D6, you spot an employee of your master who also notices you. If you have any debt outstanding, he will fetch his master. Roll d6 and add your initiative. If you manage to score an 8 or more to avoid them, if you manage to add your initiative, if you've managed to score an 8 or more, you avoid them, though you may not do anything for the next day while you're hiding out. If you fail, then apply a result from 13 from the fighting pit school. Okay, you can be met by an admiring fan who insists on making a big scene in the streets. The next shop you enter has heard that you are a rich pit fighter and will charge you twice the normal cost for any items that you may buy. The cost of living for your character is doubled while you remain in this settlement. So, uneventful day until someone recognizes you from across the street. Shouting out your name, he rushes over to you and a large crowd appears. You spend the rest of the day scrawling your autograph on proffered pieces of parchment, exposed flesh, and farm animals. You were cornered in an alley by servants of your ex-master. After beating 2 of them senseless, you managed to get to to the floor, and 5 of them sit on you. Roll a 6. On a roll of d6. On a roll of a 6, one of them explains to you in very short, slow sentences that your master has forgiven you, having been turned to religion by a wandering missionary. The master's gesture of forgiveness is represented by a reduction of 1d6 times 10 gold from your debt total. On a roll of a 1 to 5, they steal 1 piece of treasure from you, determined which randomly. So, pit fighters in combat. Pit fighters are particularly good in combats that take place in enclosed spaces. When your pit fighters in combat with monsters in such a situation, you may well, it sounds like a dungeon would be that all the time. You may try to use some of the experience you gained during your earlier career. At the start of combat, just after the monsters are placed, roll d6. Okay, so that's that reason for that rule. Okay, sometimes you can make an extra move, and we read that one. Treat the pit fighter exactly like the barbarian for the purposes of treasure and equipment. If the barbarian can use a particular piece of treasure or equipment, so can the pit fighter. Remember his armor restrictions, though. He may visit the armory, general store, weaponsmith, gambling den, alchemist, temple, and animal trader. When a pit fighter visits an alehouse, he does not have any modifiers to his role. Pit fighters are experts on weaponry and can root out a good bargain. When checking for the availability of a weapon or armor, the pit fighter may add +1 to the roll. This ability cannot be used in a fighting school. So what's going on with this fighting school? Let's find out. So a pit fighter, barbarian, troll slayer, chaos warrior, or dwarf may visit the fighting school once per settlement. So this is actually bringing in other characters too. So this is someplace the barbarian can go, the troll slayer can go. So this adds something to other characters too. That's kind of nice. Having this expansion also enhances some other characters. The fighting school is a special location, but you can find one on a roll of a 6+ rather than a roll of a 7+. When you find a fighting school, roll 2d, like Fight Club. You're like going down to Fight Club. When you find a fighting school, roll 2d6 and consult the following table. A pit fighter must add +1 to his roll. So the pit fighter can't roll a 2. The gladiators and trainers laugh at your warrior and then subject him to an embarrassing beating. Your warrior flees in shame and must leave the settlement immediately. Do not roll on the settlement's event table today. But one of the fighters takes a shine to randomly determined weapon of yours, including magic weapons. Unless you can scare him off by rolling a 7 or more on d6 plus your battle level, he will steal the item. Discard the item immediately. Is this a d66 roll? No, it's a 2d6. 2d6. The extra training that you gain improves your fighter's prowess and increases your endurance. You may add +1 to your wounds total permanently. Now, this one looks like because you've got the debt. As you walk into the courtyard, a bottle, and it's a 13, so nobody else can get this. Only the pit fighter can. As you walk into a courtyard, a bottle smashes over the back of your head and you collapse to the floor. When you wake up, your ex-master stands over you with 4 thugs standing around him. If you have any debt outstanding, you are trussed up and tossed into the back of a cart. It will take you 2d6 days to escape, during which time the other party members must either wait for you or go on the next adventure without you. Roll 1d6 on the following table. If you have paid less than your battle level, times 500 gold towards your debt, subtract 1 from the roll. Your ex-manager strips all of your gold and belongings and leaves you chained in the back alley. Calculate the value of things taken and halve this amount. Knock this much off your total debt. Your ex-manager demands some payment and will take half of the gold you earned during the next adventure, and you must sell any treasure found and give them half the proceeds. Deduct this amount from your debt total after the next adventure. The man takes half your present gold and deducts it from your debt total. 4+, roll 1d6 for each piece of treasure and equipment your warrior has. On a roll of 1 or 2, the ex-manager takes it and knocks 1d6 times 5 gold off your debt total. Rough. PH says, if it was my game and players have chosen pit fighters, I would only prepare dungeons made of huge galleries. This dungeon is nothing but wide open spaces. It's nothing but the great halls of Moria. So we got the armory. Only the pit fighter may buy and use equipment from the fighting school. The pit fighter skill Intimidate does not work in the armory, as the trader is a grizzled veteran of fighting pits and is not scared of you. These are specialized pieces of equipment, so they differ from other types of weapons and armor available to other warriors. Knuckle dusters add +2 damage when the hit roll is 6. Knee spike +1 to strength 2 attacks, up to 1 per knee. Toe blades can be used by warriors with the kick skill. You can get more of these heal it potions. Pit armor +1 toughness. You must note down which part of your body is covered. A paralysis potion, that you can put on your weapon. The first monster hit by this weapon is at -1 to hit for the rest of combat. And D6 enhancers. A dose of enhancers will increase one characteristic for the duration of the whole turn. Like a potion, each dose can only be used once. Pit fighting and training. Pit fighters train at fighting schools. Well, this is very comprehensive. When you spend your pit fighters training points on a D6, on a skill, roll 2d6 and consult the following table. You will need your skills. Roleplay guidelines. Pit fighters are brusque and straightforward, preferring to tackle problems and enemies head on. Their strength can be considerable, especially if they train hard in this direction. Because of their particular method of training, it's hard to generalize what actions a pit fighter should be good at. Some pit fighters rely on speed and skill, while others bull their way through an adventure using their immense strength and iron constitution to survive. Whatever inclination a pit fighter has to his martial prowess, they all excel in physical tasks and feel threatened by the problems of a more intelligent nature. Like the barbarians, their instincts are well honed in certain directions, but they have few insights into abstract concepts and have no aptitude for the problems that require logical examination. Pit fighters are used to fighting alone, and some pit fighters do use teams. Although some use teams, a pit fighter is a loner at heart. They're stubborn to the point of bloody-mindedness, and once they get an idea into their heads, it's hard to convince a pit fighter otherwise. Pit fighters form a strong bond of friendship with those they accompany. The trials and ordeals, the pit fights, and you have to make good friends. Some other warriors may find this common familiarity uncomfortable, especially with warriors of another race. Then we've got a little story here. The pit fighters battle level table. Are they never changing strength, damage dice, toughness, wounds, luck? Is that the way it is in here? Oh, it's on the back here. Yeah, huh, how about that? Says, note, whenever the pit fighter goes up a level, he gets a number of training points to spend on characteristic increases and skills. See page 8 for a list of how many training points it costs to increase a characteristic. Movement and ballistic skill cannot be increased. Okay, so they're increased by these skills. Bruiser, pugilist, prize fighter, master. Cool. Okay, let's see what's wrapped up in here for us. Yeah, Mike says those things are buy with training points. Gotcha. Little Monk says 50 gold per heal it potion. So they're cheap. I didn't look at that. Because the elf had the healing, had a healing potion, but this is a heal it potion. They are 50 gold each. And you can get D6 of them. Yeah, you can get D6 of them. So Mike says, yeah, you do buy these with training points. And so pit fighters have a different stat increase method than other warriors. Ah, okay. Yeah. All right, so let's open these up. We got this right here. Oh, that was just package stuffing. Yeah, oh, you're right. Yeah, and it doesn't roll out unless you run out unless you roll a 1, right? Or a 1 or a 2 if you're giving it to somebody else. That does sound really good. This might be the token right there. Yes, right there. All right, here we have the painted pit fighter. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus on it. Oh, come on. There we go. The Pit Fighter. Quite a character here. Thank you very much, Mike. So there we go. That's the character. Let's take a look at the elf while we're here. I'm kind of curious about this one. Elf Ranger. So it says the Elf Ranger, bitter, haughty, proud, and noble. Elf Rangers carry a reputation as great as mages and warriors. Lords of a bygone age, they will wish to recover the lost treasure of the elves so that they can return in triumph to Ulthuan. To this end, they join the bitter struggle against the foul denizens of the labyrinthine caverns below the world. This pack, you will find everything you need to play the Elf Ranger in the Warhammer Quest game, including a rule book, cards, counters, and specially crafted Elf Ranger Citadel miniature. The Elf Ranger, I remember this one. Better with Bacon says, if you don't roll a 1, you're just taking the teensiest sips. If you roll a 1, though, your elbow, you throw your elbow wide and accidentally spill the whole thing down your chest. I think this gauntlet reference here. Okay, so here is the elf token right there. So Elf Ranger token. We have got a this is an even thicker booklet, but it's still got this tiny print in here. Okay, so right here. So here is our Elf Ranger card. It says wounds 1d6 plus 7. Move 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 5 plus, strength 3, toughness 3, parentheses 4, initiative 5, attacks 1. Equipment, War Crown of Tyrannoc. Weapons, sword, which causes 1d6 plus 3 wounds. Armor, scale mail, giving him plus 1 toughness. Pinning, the Elf Ranger escapes from his pinning on a roll of 3 plus. Special rules, choose whether your Elf Ranger will be a Ranger Knight or a Ranger Mage. The rules for the Ranger Knight are on the back of this card. The rules for the Ranger Mage are on a separate card. And his to-hit table for his weapon skill. So Ranger Knight special rules. Ranger Knight and Treasure. A Ranger Knight may wear any magic armor and use any magic weapons unless the treasure card itself says otherwise. Starting as a Ranger Knight starts the game with a bow as well as a sword. The bow is strength 3 and can be used for 1 attack per turn. The Ranger Knight must either use his bow or make a hand-to-hand combat attack. He cannot do both in 1 turn. See page 26 of the Warhammer Quest rulebook for rules covering use of missile weapons. Blades of Death skill. The Elf Ranger Knight has the Blades of Death skill. He is studied in the arts of war and can inflict dreadful wounds with his elf blade. This skill only works if the Ranger Knight actually manages to hit his opponent with his attacks. If he does so, then resolve damage against the monster as usual, including death blows, etc. If his attacks hit, the Ranger Knight gets an extra attack. Resolve this extra attack as normal. So wait, what's going on here? He has to hit his opponent. If he does so, resolve damage against the monster as usual, including death blows. If his attack hits, the Ranger Knight gets an extra attack. Resolve this extra attack as normal. If the Ranger's Knight first attack misses, this does not get extra attacks that turn. Well, that's a lot, right? Okay, Little Monk says, one of the best written and balanced of the expansion warriors, referring to the Ranger here. Andy Jones did an excellent job with this one. So we do have another card here that says Elf Ranger Mage. Ranger, Mages, and Treasure. The only armor a Ranger Mage may wear is the scale armor he starts the game with. He may use any treasure, which is normally only for wizards. He may use any treasure, which is normally only for wizards. Magic. An Ranger Mage may cast 1 spell per turn. When the wizard rolls the dice on the power phase, the score shows how easily the ranger can cast spells. So power phase roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number to cast the spell is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For example, if a 4 rolled during the power phase, the elf ranger could cast a spell if he rolled a 3 or more on a d6. The ranger mage has 3 spells. Remember that attack spells may only be cast on the warrior's phase, while healing spells may be cast at any time. So his 3 spells are Aura of Vitality, which is a healing spell. The ranger floods the area with a brilliant light. Each warrior on the board section regains 1 wound. The ranger gains 5 gold for every wound he heals on the other warriors. Shockwave. So that's experience. I want to think about that more because I want to be able to reward characters for acting like their character. Where this is giving gold, because gold is used a lot like experience points here. Shockwave is attack. The elf ranger invokes a shockwave throughout the dungeon. Having successfully cast the spell, choose a monster and roll a die. If you roll 3+, the monster suffers 1d6 plus 1 wounds. If you score 3+, you can try against another monster and so on. If you fail, the shockwave dies away and the spell ends. You can try once per turn for every monster on the board section the ranger mage is in. The Sword of Anarian. Attack. A bloody dripping sword appears in the ranger's hand. A monster adjacent to the ranger suffers 1d6 wounds with no deductions at all. Let me go over here to our link and see if I can look up Ranger. Elf Ranger, complete and searchable. So that I do not have to look at this tiny, tiny booklet. There we go. Oh, we've got something blurry over here. So let's see. Legend tells when the elves left the old world and returned to the land of Othuan in the west. It is said the dark elves threatened their ancient home, and also the elves knew they could never win their long-standing war with the dwarves. Whatever their true purposes, the elves departed for good, leaving only a few isolated communities behind them. Let's see. Oh, I saw Bretonia in there. Bigger groups of warriors, elf ranger. When one of the dispossessed first ventures from his home city in search of glory, adventure, treasure, and bitter vengeance, his powers are yet untested. In his heart, he knows his fate is to be a mighty knight after Anarian, Calidor, or Tyrion, or to follow the paths of the mages old, such as Teclis and Bel Corandis. However, this is not to say that, like human wizards, an elf mage is not versed in the arts of war, or that a warrior knows nothing of the ways of magic. You choose which one you're going to be. Oh, yeah. What did the War Crown do? That wasn't on there. So equipment. The Elf Ranger starts with a War Crown of Tyrannic. The War Crown allows the Ranger to freeze time and take another player's phase whenever he wishes. He may do this once per game. Okay, we were looking at the different rules here. Power phase, yes. They're just hard to read. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I actually do like the tiny books. I really like having the booklet in here. But man, the font in this is insanely tiny. It's like 4-point font or something in here. Little Monk says, I really like when they introduce new ideas like the pit armor and the pit fighter. For the elf ranger, the possibility of switching back and forth between the knight and mage is rare, but pretty cool. Oh, so you can switch back and forth between them? Is that something you can pick up later? Every time a ranger heals another warrior, he gains 5 gold for every wound he heals. A knight may wear any magical armor and use any magical weapons except those which may be used by dwarves or of dwarf origin. Okay, in the advanced rules, it's possible to keep your ranger from game to game, building up the character as he progresses from adventure to adventure. Okay, so here's the rules for that. Generally, he may use any weapon, armor, or treasure item available for the elf in the Warhammer Quest game. An elf ranger may use any bladed weapon and any bow or missile weapon so long as it's not a gun or any form of gunpowder. Some things, they're tailor-made for the human wizards that you can't use at all. Well, we do have, okay, so for the advanced game, the elf, this may be what little monk was just talking about. Little Monk says people play the crown, war crown wrong. They think it gives the entire party an extra phase, but it only gives the elf ranger an extra phase. Right. Well, I don't remember where that was. It says, in the advanced game, the elf ranger can cast a number of spells per turn governed by his title and path. As a new warrior, he begins the game as a novice, and looking at his battle level table, you will see that he becomes a champion at level 2 and so on. In the Warhammer Quest game, only the ranger mage has spells. In the advanced rules, this is not always the case, as even a ranger knight may have some skills in the magical arts. How a ranger acquires spells and skills is explained later on. A ranger following the warrior path may attempt to cast the following number of spells per turn. Attack spells may only be cast in the warrior's phase, but other spells may be cast at any time in a turn. So novices cannot cast. Champions begin to cast. Power phase, we looked at that on the other card. When visiting settlements, the elf ranger may visit all the standard locations, such as the various traders and the following special locations: the alchemist, gambling house, temple, ale house, elf quarters, and wizard's guild. In addition, there's a new special location, the elf noble house. Of course, there are any dice rolls to be made to see if a certain location can be found. The usual rules apply. An elf ranger may only visit the wizard's guild if he has at least one spell. If he finds a wizard's guild, rather than, this is what Better with Bacon was talking about as far as our lore here. If he finds a wizard's guild, then rather than paying as he enters, the elf ranger sweeps in arrogantly, demanding to see the high lord of the puny human wizards in this squalid place. His bravado and arrogance are not always appreciated by the wizards, however, particularly in large cities with well-established and powerful guilds, and there's a chance they will simply turf him out for being so rude, or such a rude upstart. Before the ranger can visit the wizard's guild, he must roll a dice and consult the following table to see whether or not he is allowed entry or not. The wizards cannot believe the cheek of this fellow, cannot believe the cheek of this fellow, and report him to the city watch. Roll on the city watch table below to see what happens to the ranger now. Or unimpressed by the ranger's arrogant manner, the wizard slams the door in his face. He must pay 1d6 times 10 gold before he's allowed in. Unimpressed by the ranger's arrogant manner, the wizards bar his entry. He must pay 1d6 times 50 before he is allowed in. Or the ranger barges his way into the wizard's guild despite his protestations of the wizards within. He gains entry to the wizard's guild for free. The best thing about OSR is they used to be made by old people for old people. So they have bigger fonts and more space between lines. And now they are younger people doing them, but they kind of kept the style. High elves are confident, to put it nicely. Yeah. So they can get in trouble with the city watch for doing that. The High Elf Quarter. When visiting the Elf Quarter, the Elf Quarter, when visiting the Elf Quarter, the ranger has no need of herbs and potions. He leaves such things to the Wood Elves. He will, however, buy way bread, but in his arrogance, he always pays 3 times the list price for it. He may buy armor, etc., as normal from the Elf Quarter. The Elf Noble House. The dispossessed of Tyrannic maintain the ancient tradition of their kind, even though they now have no lands or armies of their own. They are still a powerful force within the elf communities of the old world, maintaining noble houses within the elf quarters of many great cities of the Empire and Bretonnia. Here they keep to themselves, maintaining a proud aloofness from the rest of the community. Other elves are welcomed into these vaunted halls, spending time amongst their kin to discuss the events of the world and to recount the ancient stories, invariably about their betrayal and downfall. Elf rangers are great travelers, and their network of noble houses is very well informed about the goings-on of the Warhammer world. From Ulthuan to Araby, from Norska to the Border Princes and beyond. Rangers have a great interest in news and happenings from faraway places, and they regard the inhabitants of the cities they live in as introspective and dull. In this regard, they make little distinction between dwarves, elves, or men, seeing them as all tarnished by the same inward-looking attitudes. So can you find a noble house on a 7+? The noble house is where the wizard trains to go up battle levels. Okay, as he does so, his profile changes as usual. He gains dice on the skills and spells table. Whenever the ranger visits a noble house, he must try to resist purchasing some exotic item. To do so, he must roll a d6. On a roll of 2 or more, he doesn't see anything he really likes. On a score of 1, he's so overcome with the beauty of a particular item, he simply cannot resist it. He has to buy the item if he can afford it. This must be done before any training is paid for. If the ranger can't resist buying an item, roll on the table below to see what he has fallen in love with. If he cannot afford the item, he is thrown out of the noble house in disgrace. So anywhere from the rare silks of Ulthuan, they look splendid, 2,000 gold. Spices from Araby, fine wines from Bretonnia, exotic foods of Talia, ancient vase from Lustria. So whilst in the noble house, the ranger will pick up the latest news and reports from across the world. This will involve specific information about certain monsters, lairs, and hidden treasure. Roll to see if the ranger finds anything helpful on the news section. Let's see. Every time you visit a noble house, he is welcomed with open arms as long as a long-lost son or brother. There are few enough of the dispossessed left, so the arrival of any elf ranger is the cause for celebration. Within each noble house, there is usually at least one ranger who is nominally in charge of and deferred to by all who visit. Often he is old beyond telling and runs the noble house as its lord. The great lords rule the noble houses by right of birth because their great accomplishments in the past are through presence of will. So one of the first things a ranger must do when he arrives at a noble house after a prolonged absence is to visit the lord of the house. Not to do so would be considered the height of rudeness, and such behavior will not be tolerated more than once. To ignore the lord of a noble house is to be shunned through the noble houses of the Warhammer world as the news travels through the network. It is customary to offer gold or treasure to the lord of the noble house as a token of gratitude for his protection while the ranger stays in his halls. In exchange, the Lord will stay closeted with each visitor for anything up to a day, discussing events of the world and giving the ranger the benefits of his great knowledge and wisdom. So we got a table. This is the noble house mage table. We got one for the ranger, and one for the knight, and one for the mage. The ranger must roll 1d6 times 100 and pay that amount of gold over to the lord of the noble house. In exchange, he will receive advice and other guidance. So the mage could get the ranger and the lord discuss the ways of magic, and the ranger benefits much from the conversation. Once in the next adventure, the ranger may attempt to cast an extra spell. +1 to power phase dice. +1 to toughness next adventure. Extra power from his war crown. Use that twice. A small gem, which allows you to cast something automatically. Extra attacks for the knight, and so forth. Let's see. increased rules for training. So this is a much longer book. That's not even standardized. There's a Talisman Toad reference in here, I believe. This is a longer book. Looks like skills and spells table. So there are more spells here. Sword Master of Hoth. This skill is a special form of lightning fast attack originating from Hoth. Taking years to master. I remember the Sword Masters from when my brother was playing them. Taking years to master, the wielder is all but unstoppable. The Elf Ranger must roll a die. On a score of 5 or 6, he gains double attacks. On a score of 2, 3, or 4, he attacks as normal. On a score of 1, he trips and falls over. He may do nothing for the rest of his turn and is treated as prone. You may try this once per turn. The Sword Guard of Hoth. The ranger's at +1 to his toughness per battle level up to a maximum of +5, and all monsters attacking him are -1 to hit. That's a spell. Surrounded by whirling wall of blades. Role-playing guidelines. And your table on the back. Let's open up the miniature. I think that's just extra padding. All right. Here he is. I remember this miniature. It was part of my brother's High Elven army. Come on, focus. Here we go. Come on. There we go. There we go. We got him now. To me, this is one of the classic miniatures from... I don't remember the crown, but maybe he had the crown. But this is one of the classic Warhammer miniatures from the era. There we go. The dual blade wielding ranger. My brother painted him. So the crown looks like a custom sculpt. So that may be the case. Maybe this isn't exactly that miniature. So maybe with the crown on it is a custom sculpt. Maybe that's it, because I don't really remember that. I think I remember a character like this, though. But it may have some kind of customization done to it for the Warhammer Quest game. So there he is. Again, thank you, Mike. Oh, let's go. Okay, you want to go? Okay, let's check out the City Watch table for the Toad reference. Maybe not. I can't remember. The crown looks different to me, but it's difficult to tell. It's also been a long time since I've looked at this miniature, or the miniature that was in my brother's army. City Watch table for the Toad reference. Okay, let's look that up. The Gamer's Quest says the crown is standard. Okay. City Watch, Toad reference. This is what happens when you arrogantly go into the Wizards Guild, right? So City Watch takes no nonsense, do nothing. Don't. City Watch appears at once. Yep. 5 to 6. The City Watch declares that they will have not got the time to deal with such petty disputes, but they will stand by to see justice done. with the sentence carried out by the wizards. The wizards turn so the city watch declares that they have not got the time to deal with such petty disputes, but they will stand by to see justice done with the sentence carried out by the wizards. The wizards turn the ranger into a toad for the rest of the day to teach him a lesson during which he may do nothing at all. So you can get turned into a toad. Got it. So Gamer's Quest says that his has it too. So there we go. So you can be turned into a toad. I remember I had forgotten about that, but we did have a little toad miniature in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. That was some kind of spell where you could turn people into a toad. Oh, I don't know but there's the War Crown of Tyrannic. We got a little card for that. The War Crown allows the elf ranger to freeze time and take another warrior's phase whenever he wishes. He may do this once per adventure. Yeah. That's not everybody doesn't get a turn because of that. So you're taking somebody else's turn. Well, cool. I like these expansion ideas. Ranger and Pit Fighter. That was special. Thank you, because we didn't get to have the actual box of the original Warhammer Quest itself, but we got a couple of extra boxes right here. So this is great. So I guess it's probably, I'm going to have to go here soon. But I guess that pretty much concludes our look at the original Warhammer Quest. That was a deep dive, and there was a lot learned. And I got my notes over here on that game. But we will probably take a look at the, which one is this? This is Shadows over Hammerhall. We'll take a look at that one. Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. Here's Mike, who sent these over in the chat. Glad you liked the items and shared things with everybody. I think everybody enjoyed taking a look at them. Blast from the past, classic days of Games Workshop right here. All right, well, I've got to get out of here. I'm going to go do boring stuff, boring paperwork and bills and things like that, and maybe cut more grass. I'm still trying to get all the grass cut, maybe for the last time for the season. We will see. But everybody, thank you so much for being here with me this morning. And if you are watching on replay, thank you very much for watching on replay. I will see you later. Everybody, go forth, be creative, and be constructive. Later, everybody.